Greetings. This is Surviving and Winning. I plan on having a very short broadcast, and I just wanted to say a few things. Be silent. You will imagine, if you could imagine how much you can hear when you're not talking. I am one of those people. Growing up, I was shy. I was quiet. I had been through a lot of things, and usually people who've been through a lot of trauma don't talk a lot. So somebody says, hey, you don't show your face, you don't do this, you don't come on. I don't even really want to come on, but I have something to say. And I'm not scared to say it. It's just that I don't know that anyone wants to hear it right now. But people don't change the world by going with what the world does. If you've ever been in marketing or you've ever tried to make any money doing anything, you will not make money doing what everybody else is doing. You have to find out what people want and give it to them, and it has to be something that they've never had before, or that no one else has attempted to do. Now you have to make a lot of money while you're doing that because people are going to come in your market, but that is another topic. But being silent, I think is a niche, because what niche, whatever, you need to figure out who's your friend and who's your enemy. And sometimes you find it out in a crisis that hurts. But when you're in that crisis and you are forced to be silent because you're sick, people will actually be loud in telling you who they are and who they were to you that you didn't even know. And it's not that people don't like change. And what's a life changing experience for you is a change for them as well. And they take that as a betrayal. You betrayed me. You got cancer. You're supposed to do the same things you've been doing and be there for me like I used to be there for you. That they're not going to do that. People are not going to match what you did. They will imitate your expressions. They'll imitate your style, your smile. And that is a lot of reasons that I'm not really into religion anymore. I do have what I believe to be a close connection to God, but what that is called is nobody's business in the first place. In second place, people call themselves stuff all the time, and the only thing that you know is their actions. And that's my point. Be silent. Be silent. In fact, what I would like people to do is stop cussing people out. Just be quiet. I walked into a Subway. The person that was wiping the tables looked up at me. The person who was making the sandwiches looked up at me, and they seemed to be disturbed that anyone came in that store at all. You know what I did? I was quiet. I walked the heck out. I walked out. And I seen this a couple. If you really want, go to Chick-fil-A. Those people are trained to do customer service. I wouldn't go to, like, there's certain subways that have good managers that understand how things go. But if you just walk out. If you feel like saying something, say something to the franchise. If they don't respond back to you, they don't have a customer service in place, and they don't plan on being in business very long. They're hiring who will use a restaurant. That is a sign. So it's a sign of a person that is going out of business how they treat you. Now, another thing, when I'm talking about being silent, I I still mean that you need to be polite. Politeness can get you in so many doors, and this goes down to etiquette. Etiquette says, I'm a human being, you're a human being, and I respect you as a human being. So etiquette, one part of etiquette is that when you're in another person's establishment or business, that they are taking a risk that you're not taking. So acknowledge that, but be quiet. When you're going through something, you don't have to tell, especially medically, you don't have to tell them what it is. Just have to tell them how to have a doctor's appointment. Be quiet. If they need to know, they'll know. But be silent. Get to know your environment. If you ever, anyone who's ever had a cat, if you notice, the first thing that a cat will do if a stranger comes in the house, and even if you're, adopting a cat or bringing a cat in that you bought or from another, when you take it from its mother or even its mother, just think about it. That cat is quiet. They might even go under the bed, under the couch. They're gonna hide and they're gonna watch your moves. They're gonna watch how you act. They don't internalize it. They're watching you. And if they think that you're a friendly person, they may come out. May. Depending on what they've been through. But what they do when it's they are hunters, but they're also they're small and very vulnerable. So we as people are vulnerable. We don't know everything and we're not as big as everything that the whole world doesn't consist of us. And I think that's a issue in and of itself. But be silent. From being a quiet person when I was growing up, people used to accuse me of all kinds of things. It was only till I got older that I realized like all my elders were human. And looking back and you start to learn certain things about them, I was like, they're accusing me of being them. If you want to get to know someone, shut up. Don't ask them anything. Don't ask them how they are, how they're feeling, what they're doing, or who they were doing, or anything about the Ten Commandments that they broke on the way back from church. Don't ask them anything. Be quiet. And when they get out of church and or whatever religion they come out of, because I'll be honest, like I have I grew up in the church. I grew up in a Christian religion. That's not the only religion I've had. And I'm still indoctrinated with another one, but it's not really that much difference. God said in his 10 commandments, you also on top of that, you have to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And it's second until the first commandment, but they're equal. If you don't love your friends, your family, the people around you, you don't love God, right? And so when you see these people judging you for stuff and you're just sitting there like, I totally remember being a young person, like a teenager. I didn't even know what people did when they had sex. Like I didn't know anything about sex. But I was an avid reader, but I didn't know anything about sex. And I grew up in a neighborhood full of boys, but they were younger than me. And so they didn't have the hormones. I had a father in the home. They didn't attempt to even try to have sex with me. And they didn't, I don't even think they knew about sex because we didn't have the internet back then. And like I said, I grew up in the South, so I don't know if that makes a difference or not. And I don't know if having a father in the home makes a difference or not because nobody know, no, people live different lives and you don't know what that means. My father said that if as long as he was in the home, I wouldn't have that problem. But the elders, the older people, I would ask an innocent question and Until I learned about sex, I didn't know they were talking about sex. And so when I say be silent, you're going to find out what other people are into and what other people are doing and what other people feel guilty of by what they accuse you of doing if you're quiet. I'm in a place where I'm being very stealth in certain ways because I want to like really know who I'm dealing with. I don't think of God and Satan and the devil and all this other stuff. I don't think of it being in the sky or in the ground or a place that you go. That is what is in you. And as long as you are attached to the creator that created you and giving you like a vessel, a body to walk around in, he or she is asking you to carry that work. And I don't really like one of the issues I have with religion. I don't like assigning God, Allah, whatever the creator's name that you want to call, because that's really a translation where you're trying to express yourself into words. But before you ever learn a language, there was God, right? So then that's a whole different. So I don't like putting words on a creator, and I also don't like placing creators uh on the earth anywhere above or below the earth, and I don't believe in um giving it a name. I don't believe in um assigning it a sexual a gender or a sexual orientation. I don't uh all of those things are just vessels. That's your body, really. What part of the body brings life into the world? And if we were to really, really get into it and really assign anything, then God would be a woman. Because that's the vessel that brings the life into the world. But I don't like doing that because it doesn't as far as we can see in the present time, um, that is not the only way that children, babies, or our reproductive organs bring things into the world. So I don't, and I don't want to refer to the creator as an it. But getting back to the nature of the creator, um, it is good that people do go to, I don't care if it's a synagogue, a church, a mosque, or wherever they go, that they go somewhere to really center themselves into the idea that this world is not all about them, that they're not the only ones in this world, that they're not, um, that their lives matter. Their lives really matter, but don't get so uh, delusional that you feel like your life matters to a whole bunch of people. Also want to kind of address like your minister can commit a sin. Your minister can go home and do things wrong. Sometimes your minister does wrong, like right where you are, or your imam, or whatever. That the creator is not your mom and dad. The creator is not your minister. The creator created you, and they use the vessel of your mom and dad. And when we go back to, okay, the person in the sky or the person in the ground, it's not God is in the sky and there's a person in the ground. That is meant to take out the part of you inside your body. Your body is being used for God or the devil. And I'm using those terms because I'm speaking English in America. But I think that that's just reducing it to a word so that other people can understand. But I don't think there is a word. It is, but I guess spirit is a good word. And when you run across a person, you either, when they address you and when you speak to them, you can actually bring the devil out of a person or you can bring God out of the person. So, but if you're quiet and they choose to show you God or choose to show you the devil, that's what's inside of them. And you can't control what another person does, but if you're quiet, you'll find out who the other person is. And that person may be a devil to you and turn around and be a god to their mother or be a god to their father or be a god to and I can like look at it like where there's a woman and she could be like a god to her man and a devil to her children or a devil to other women because she just wanted to keep this guy because she has attributed godlike qualities to him and she's actually worshiping him. If you just sit and be quiet, and you'll find out who that person is to you. That's what's the most important because what you're doing is you're engulfing. If that person is a devil to you and you keep them around you, what they'll do is they'll start to fill you with evil. To protect your spirit, be cordial, be nice, attempt to bring the God out of them, and then be quiet and let them talk. And if you bring out the God in you and all they bring out to you is the devil, you're talking to the devil. And you don't have to die to do it. You need them out of your space. It's not to be judgmental like a church person. I'm saying that there are people who work at, and this is the thing, when you're serving God, there are people who work at like the homeless shelters, places where, or working with someone who's very, very ill. Those people are so humble by the time they get to them. They see the good in people. And they have, uh, because they're serving God, they bring out the God in other people. But if you're quiet, you'll know when the devil's walking up to you. Also, if you keep grounded in the Spirit of God, always understand that sometimes you're going to get the devil and he's going to be mimicking your expressions, your actions, your deeds. He's actually, or she, because we're talking about humans now, so we're talking about like male and female. That person is going to want to get close so that they can mimic your actions, but they also want to undermine what you're doing. That is a biblical scripture, but I'm not really familiar with. I will quote it for those who are in the Bible. Like I said, that was one of my teachings that I grew up in, but it speaks on how um, during Revelations, two people will be sleeping in the bed, and one God will take, and the other one that He will leave behind. There's also, and I think this is a really good movie, and it's free if you look it up on the internet. It's called Left Behind. And just because you're still here on Earth doesn't mean you're blessed. Because if you look at what's going on right now, and they said good people die young. So like Jesus died young. You got Martin Luther King died young. Malcolm X died young. Like all these people that sought to save the world from evil died young. He said, well, why would God do that? And then uh, people don't protect them while they're here. They worship them when they're dead. Now, being a cancer patient, I will say that people, they get mad at you for getting sick, especially if you do a lot for a lot of people. My father taught me. He said people don't appreciate you while you're alive. They get like they they appreciate you when you die, and they also um don't appreciate when you're doing a lot for them. They get mad at you when you stop. So if you never start, they never get mad at you, and they have to fend for themselves. But those same people, if you need anything, are going to be mad. They don't care that you're dying. Like, and I didn't believe it, but it's true. Not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but that's why I said be silent. But I'll tell you, the people who helped me the most were the quietest people in the world. They never said anything. I had people, when I was in the hospital, I had people driving long distances in the rain at night. They had to be at work the next day. Well, not the next day, but like come in on a Saturday, spend like 5 or 6 hours with me in the hospital. And I didn't even expect it. I was surprised. I didn't think they would do it. And then they would cash out me money because after I got out so that I could get my medicine. These people saved my life. There's so many people jumped in and said, like everybody, nobody has enough money to save my life in their pocket. It was a collaboration. But those are the quiet people. And I was quiet. And so we never really talked. But they were quiet and they felt my spirit. I was quiet and I felt theirs, but I never expected them to do anything. It's the ones that were grinning in my face and talking all the time that ran away. So be quiet, be quiet, and find out who you're surrounding yourself with. Because the person like I remember there was another saying. It's like a dog who brings a bone will carry a bone. That is a lesson about gossip. Now, when your elders are talking, be quiet too. Be quiet. Now they done some stuff in their life, and they done the same stuff you've done, and that's why they're telling you not to do it. But I also advise elders to, um, and I'm one. I mean, I'm approaching that. I guess I am there now. Um, they're gonna tell you. They're gonna tell you straight up what's going on. Just stop and listen. Don't. If you're young, don't argue with them. Even when you're being silent, just be quiet. Don't tell them, yeah, but this is what happened. No, just be quiet. If you want to share, just share, but do not try to correct an elder. Okay, because if they have not learned by now, they're just slow. Because that lesson has been taught several times, and they're not going to take that lesson from you anyway. So the best thing to do is if they have a lesson to teach you and it makes sense, listen and take heed, but be quiet. When you around your friends, I mean, you can laugh and keep your personal business to yourself until you hear that they're going through the same thing. And if they're going through the same thing, share. But really, just be quiet. If you're a quiet person like me, you should hear what I've heard about myself. When I was younger, um, I was quiet because I was shy. I was quiet because, which wasn't true. I was quiet because I've heard some things and I don't trust you, or I don't like you, or there's nothing I've heard you say that makes me want to interact, or I have something else I'd rather do. Like it was nothing welcoming. I feel vibes off of people. When I'm quiet, I feel people more. And sometimes I almost want to run away. When I was younger, I didn't have a car. I had to wait for my parents to drive me from wherever we were. Or if I go to a game, like I almost feel like I didn't like being in crowds because I could feel spirits, and you feel them more when you're quiet. So in this right now during this time, be quiet. And I know I'm talking, but only I don't really get a whole lot of viewers, so I'm still being quiet. I'm just venting, letting out my thoughts because even in being quiet, you still think and you still have to make room for more thoughts. So I expressed them. But another thing that people thought when I was quiet was I stuck up. That wasn't because I was stuck up, but they had low self-esteem and there was something about me that they liked and they wanted attention. I didn't know that. I was just being quiet. Or another thought when somebody and if they had what they thought I had, they would be stuck up. Or they were stuck up and they couldn't believe that I was more stuck up than they were, that they wanted me to speak to them first. It's an ego, but it has nothing to do with me because I wasn't even paying attention. Or they'll say you're mean. I wasn't even thinking mean thoughts. I wasn't thinking about them. But they were mean. Some of them are locked up right now thinking I was mean because I didn't talk a lot. Now I got in trouble for like not speaking to people, and I still had that issue. But I always now I know what it is. Is that I see people's spirits more than I see their face, and so I don't recognize faces anymore. If that person has a bad spirit, then this is how you find out from being silent. They have a bad spirit. I don't want to smile and engage that spirit and bring it into my life. I'm working on cleansing my own soul as an individual, and this is even when I was young, but now that I've gotten older, um, that I realize that my mortality is at stake, that I could die and I have to return to the creator of the heavens and earth, then I really don't have any room for the creator to be displeased with me. So I don't want that kind of energy around me for me to absorb, because especially when you've been traumatized, because surgery and all this other stuff, it's trauma. Um, you are open. Like when people say mean things to me, when I was first diagnosed, or right before I have to um, have surgery or treatment, or just before I have to have a scan and get results, I'm open because I'm traumatized. Negative things can like actually spiral inside my mind over and over and over again, and I will forget all the good things and the good people because of this negative energy. So I have to protect, and I don't get a break from that because I'm going through a lot of things that are traumatic within my household. I don't get a break ever. So I have to protect my spirit, and other people will come in. She's quiet. Yes, be silent. I am protecting myself, and you don't have anything to offer anyway. And I say this when I say be silent. I'm talking to the good people, the people who strive to um, serve their creator, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And there's some people, I wonder about them. I wonder if they were actually created by God or not. I don't think everybody was, because I look at some people and they have actually done brain scans on people. There's some people who actually have no conscience. Their brains don't even work the same, and they're very dangerous. So I guess that's going to end my commentary, and that is to protect your heart and spirit. Always serve your creator so that when you return to him or her, if we're going to give it a gender, always return. Always prepare yourself for returning. Because this life is really, really short. And when you're younger, it seems longer, but as you get older, it's not a lot of time. Because it's like a percentage, which is like when you're one and like an hour without food or hour without your diaper being changed is a long, 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 long time. Going from one to turning two is a long, long, long time. And there's a lot of growth that happens during that time. But as you get older, Time starts to fly. And so understanding elders know how fast time flies. And if they spend any time on you to teach you anything, take it, listen. Even if you have been there before or you aren't there yet, just listen. And but that issue as far as them being disrespectful or critiquing you or talking down to you, you don't have to do that. But if you're just silent, you'll know how far they got because some people got till 12 years old and stopped. I can see some things on YouTube that let me know that the reason that they're having trouble with the youth or their children or whatever is that children pass them. They literally pass the elders. They're holding them up in a room while they're on camera arguing about with people they don't even know. They're doing a whole lot of messed up things. And there are people following them doing messed up things too. So if you're quiet and you're silent, you'll be able to see it. And um, guard your spirit, guard your heart. There's nothing wrong with praying. Praying gets you out of this world and into your purpose and your existence. And a closeness that you had with the creator when you were born, you were so innocent, gets you back to that place you were before this world just start trampling. And your parents may or may not have been there or may not have protected you or may not have shown you the love, but what you came from, you go back to where you came. You will return to where you came. And if you come back and you're not acting in the way that you were supposed to be acting, you will. That is the ultimate parent. That's when you really gonna get your butt whooped. But right now, heaven, your source of heaven and hell is within you. And just like when you interact with someone else, their source of heaven and hell is within them. And if you're quiet, you will be able to see who they are and where they are in their development. They approach you with disrespect and they try to kill out the God in you. You need to know that. And the only way that you'll know that is by being quiet. Now, protect yourself. Now, you being quiet, that means what I'm saying is not enter into a verbal disagreement for no reason. If that's someone you're really close to and you want to get that God back out that you've seen before, then do that. But if it's your first impression on a person and their first impression is one that's demonic, then you need to take notes, write that down, and leave them alone. And that's what I'm gonna get out. I'll go into it. That's what etiquette is about. So when that person gets their first impression of you, it is not a demonic one, and you need to respond to them the same way. Um, in other cultures, what you're gonna find is you're gonna think that these people are so nice, and then they don't talk to you or they don't deal with you anymore because they're racist. It's not true. So that's the whole point in the interview process for people in power who make money is to find out what kind of spirit you have when you walk in. And so you need to know etiquette so that you don't, even though you have good in you, if you had a bad day or whatever was going on before you got up for your interview or before you got there, you might have a good in you and you don't show it because you are you have let a demon cross your path and you feel like you got to protect yourself all the time. If you go into that interview and you show the God in you, that person, that's etiquette. Hi, how are you doing? I love you like I love myself, is what you're saying. Hi, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. That's what I would want to hear from the other person. You actually treat people the way that you want to be treated, and that's etiquette. And what they look for in their own people is pedigree. There's a reason that some I'm just going to get into race. There's a reason that some black people are treated better by white people than even other white people treat them. And that's etiquette because they're looking for pedigree. Saying if this person is of bad pedigree, they're not even going to know how or what to say to somebody. And there are people who are I want to say white Caucasian, I guess if we want to talk about race, but the reality is these people teach their children at an early age what to do when they interact with the person. Just because the person smiles at you and they're very polite, that doesn't mean they're a nice person, but it does mean that they were taught. And some of them weren't taught and they learn. But if you go in and you're not nice or you're not respectful, just like when I went in Subway and people act like they looked up and looked back down like I wasn't there. You look me in my eye and you don't acknowledge my presence, I'm walking back out. It is pedigree and one thing, but it makes me feel like you got that demon in you. And I can't have you if I'm a I don't care what your credentials are. If I'm hiring you, I'm not bringing that in my office. I've got everything the way that I want it, and I'm not looking to for my business to be disrupted. And so, on a individual scale, I'm not looking for my life to be disrupted. So, I hope that's clear. Um, and I didn't want to talk long, and hopefully, I did not talk that long. But I just want to say peace. And I hope that if there's anything I say that could help anyone, um, that was what I was trying to do. Anyone could has any suggestions for me, uh, please leave them in the comment box. Peace and blessings.